I'm so glad that this presentation was made. We really looking at a future where Industry 4.0 is going to be a reality, and are we hearing it all from the horse's mouth? Because here's the man who has been made the chairman for accelerating Industry 4.0, and they've done their job. And one particular sentence I really liked, which says that rollout by end of this year. And rollout we mustn't keep talking about it. And while moving about ensuring, accelerating this Industry 4.0 or giving a fillip to AI, organizations like Amtron and all that do not appear to be having too much of a credibility as of now, as far as my knowledge is concerned. So we've got to be very careful. Perhaps the concept of GCC can be taught in terms of to bring about into Assam. Global Capacity Center is being set up in different states, and Assam has not yet begun talking about it. If donor can also take GCC into consideration for pursuing its agenda for pushing AI-driven different projects, AI-driven projects, it would perhaps be much better. Thank you very much, Angshuman. Fantastic presentation. And now
I'd like to take the permission of chair to leave because I have a meeting. Honorable Minister is calling. So, very. Thank you, sir. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. As per the agenda, now we have the NVIDIA representative to speak here. And we have here with us Mr. Vishal Dhupar. NVIDIA is a name we all really hear about and feel great about. And it's so good to be seeing the NVIDIA person in flesh and blood in front of us with us today. Because youngsters especially, I hear, they really dream of NVIDIA with the kind of GPUs that they've been producing and manufacturing and distributing and pushing AI to a level hitherto unheard of. Anyway, Mr. Vishal has played a key role in driving the widespread adoption of accelerating computing and artificial intelligence in India. Recognized as the top Tech 100 influencers by MIT Sloan India, Vishal actively contributes to various organizations and advisory bodies such as CII, IDGS, and is an active member of the World Economic Forum's AI Advisory Council in India. With a strong belief in the power of AI for India and AI for all, he champions the philosophy of leveraging AI to tackle the most complex challenges across industries. The forum is open for Mr. Vishal. Mr. Vishal, as you know, the audience here comprises of the persons who is in the field, and I'm sure you'll not disappoint them and give us some takeaways with whom we can look forward for a better Northeastern of tomorrow. And thank you, Mosmi. I've seen former DG All India Radio, and another AI honcho and cyber expert, Mukta Chandra, our batchmate, Special Commissioner, Delhi Police, and he's an MTRO official as well. He was. Thank you. And I also see Tosuduk having come here. Hi, welcome. Over to Mr. Vishal.
Mr. Manta, thank you very much. You've introduced me to many friends here today. I call them friends because some are old friends of mine, some are new here. But all of us at the end of this conversation should go into friendship to try and make India, to make Northeast India the global capital of intelligence. At the end of the day, we're not talking about Industry 4.0, we're not talking about AI, we're talking about intelligence. I say this with a lot of humility because as you know, there are two parts to Vishal. One part of Vishal is what I do for my living by working with NVIDIA. And the second part of Vishal is the life that he's lived in India, where thanks to his father, he also touched northeastern part of the world, studying in class 9 and class 10 in Tejpur, visiting the Tanga Valley to understand what happened in 1962, understanding the paths in the journey the Indian Army took, understanding the rising of the Northeast. All that has touched my heart. And whatever Mr. Day spoke as a testimony to what is happening around us continues to be a resonance. I'm very fond of a person called Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly, best known as the editor of Wired, said that God has been extremely benevolent to humans. He created humans to enjoy the things humans have an attribute to be creative. They took all the creativity and turned things into human. And that's why artificial intelligence. Things were meant to be used. Humans want to be smart by ensuring that we continue to make them work like us. For last 60 years, computer science has been pursuing AI. I must make this statement. For 60 years, computer science has been pursuing AI. If I wasn't to make this statement, this friend of mine, Arvind, will say that, Vishal, you always say about last 13, 14 years, but you should always mention the pursuit for AI has been on for 60 years. Any guesses what AI was pursuing? It was pursuing the problem of perception. They wanted to solve the problem of perception, the problem of understanding. And the reason I talk about last 12, 13 years, because in 2012, computer science finally solved the problem of perception. Why did it take 60 years? Because a set of scientists in Canada under Hinton said, we believe that machines can be taught to write software, and it can be taught to write software better than domain experts. In 2012, there was a network called the AlexNet that got established. It ended up recognizing more images than humans could ever do, and it was slated as being superhuman. The missing link was that AI, as most people know, and there are a lot of versions of AI, people say data, without data there's no AI. Absolutely there is nothing that you can do with data, but data has been with us pretty much from the time we were doing digital transformation. People say that we got to mimic the human brain and make it work like neural networks. Neural networks has been in our wisdom since the mid-90s. So why would it take 20 years from there to come up with AI? Because there was a missing link, and that was GPU. It's a parallel compute, it's a supercomputer. It's not a chip that you carry in your briefcase. It weighs about 2.5 tons. It requires special cranes to lift it. But when this problem was solved, it was a little board. And that board went on to solve a problem of humanity that couldn't be solved for 60 years. Think about it like a child. A child is born. See the pleasure that you get when the child first recognizes your face, when can say the first word. That was the birth of AI. Like a little child being born to understand the world and giving you all the symptoms that it can understand the world. Then the child grows and the child starts talking the language. Language is the ultimate method in which he expresses or she expresses what they sense, and what they want to do to interact with the world. You saw the same emergence in 2023 with ChatGPT. Everybody felt excited because it could speak in your language. It didn't need to speak the language of computers. It didn't speak in Python. It didn't speak in C++. It didn't speak in Fortran. It spoke in English. It spoke in Assamese. It spoke in Bengali. It spoke in whichever language you wanted to do. It also spoke in the language of protein, amino acids. It spoke in the language of a steering wheel. It spoke in the language of anything that could be relative. It was a child that was growing up and it learned the language. Ultimately, we called it the universal translator. As long as it could translate anything that had a structure, it could understand and translate that. And in recent time, like what happens to us when we go from school and we've learned all the laws, we know what are the governing forces, our parents have embedded in us all the nuances, they tell us about their wisdom, and as that wisdom comes in and we go to the college, we start to reason better. We learn maths better, we learn science better, we learn art better, and we can solve those problems. And that's why we enter the world of reasoning. And today we can reason. Everybody said that, oh, LLMs are good, but they hallucinate. Oh, it might be a global knowledge, but it can't even answer simple things. But it was never taught. Once you could infuse the learning of the local nuances, now you could do it. It could reason. It could reason like you and I. It could go from chain of thoughts and break into elements and work, but you're still in college. You haven't yet faced the industry. You haven't gone to the real world. So we carry all that knowledge and then we move into the physical world. And just like your first day in your jobs, whether as an IFS officer, whether as an army officer, whether as a socialist, whether as a think tank, you have to learn on the first day the nuance of what you're going to be doing. That's the physical world. And that's where AI is going to. How do you understand inertia? How do you understand cause and effect? If I drop this pen, it can't go below this piece of thing because the wood is strong and it can't take it down. You ask ChatGPT what happens when you drop the pen, it might tell you, I don't know. So the physics has to come into place. It's exactly how humans understand, how humans reason, how humans do it. So we are living through this period of time in less than 13, 14 years. We have collapsed all these learnings to come to a stage, and that's why it is an industrial revolution. Mr. Day said in 1790, the world figured out how to take water and put it, what he didn't speak about, but if you all realize, we put it into a dynamo, it turned into a steam. Today you take all your digital experiences, what we call as data, you put it on a supercomputer, and we translate that into tokens. The currency of AI is tokens, and the currency of AI is not in data centers. All of you believe that the computing is always about a warehouse. Like everybody in work, you write a lot and you store it in sub-storage area. Computers store it in a warehouse. But warehouse is a cost center. Warehouse is where you retrieve the information. But AI doesn't do that. AI does not retrieve the information. AI gives you new content. AI teaches you to give answers to your questions, to predict your patterns, and to tell you before something happens. So it does not live in warehouses, it lives in factories. It lives in AI factories that all given time takes your digital experience, puts electricity to it, and gives you tokens. I want Northeast to build factories for tokens. Tokens will give you currency, tokens will give you business models, tokens will tell you how to retain your tokens, which is your own nuance, how to exchange that nuance to trade, If you want to be the bridge to the world which is next to you, to Southeast Asia, to extended Asia, you got to talk to them in the language of tokens, exchange it, build business models, and work on those. So this is not about doing AI as technology. This is not about 3D printing. It's not about AR, MR, Bitcoin, and everything. This is an industrial revolution that is touching all of us. And Northeast must take benefit of that. And the day you can figure out how to generate tokens, that's how it works. When you say Maruti, what do you talk about Maruti? How many cars came off the assembly line? When you talk about Reliance, what do you talk about? How many barrels of oil came out? When you talk about AI, you talk about how many tokens per minute that were generated because it brings you money. Think about Northeast. If you're going to be setting up factories there, there's going to be manufacturing coming in, there's going to be services coming in. If you could also set up a factory for AI to produce tokens, you could then have digital simulation of everything that you do. Before the roads are built, before you produce something, if you can create a twin that also heartbeat to heartbeat matches the biological creation. You simulate in the digital world, you implement it in the physical world, and the physical world operates exactly like a digital world. If there's an issue in physical world, you can diagnose that in a biological world, and vice versa. That's the way the AI is taking you forward. A lot of it will become clearer in next 5 to 10 years, but it is absolutely transformative. It is absolutely transformative because that's how the change is going to be. And for me to come here today was fundamentally bent on this premise called AI. It was built on this premise that I have seen Northeast. I have come here because of my friend Subimal Bhattacharya, because he has his heart and soul not only in technology, but in Northeast. And every time he would meet me, he would say what needs to be done. And I don't say that I know Northeast, but at least I have a feel for it. I've seen it as a growing boy. I know what takes place there. This is by far the most equating force in our lives. And I didn't make that first statement, can you be the global capital of intelligence? I made it with a lot of sensibilities because everything will be equalized. Mr. Day showed you a number. He says India is second largest exporter of software technology. In fact, ours is the only industry in India which exports 5 times to its domestic consumption. But it is done by less than 5 million people. 5 million people in 1.4 billion is just a droplet. Because they had to learn the language of computer to make the computer program and yet make us look good. Imagine now the computer can talk our language, and if everybody can use the computer for their benefit, for their replica, for their value system, for their creation. Look at the productivity. Why should productivity be only 5 times? Why can't it be 50,000 times? And that's why I strongly feel Northeast has the wisdom and the opportunity to get onto this spaceship and make a difference for itself. And so to your point, it will absolutely be a platform, a bridge for Northeast to connect the entire Asia and make us more progressive, bring the splendor to Northeast, bring a splendor to India, and it'll make a difference. Thank you very much.